welcome to Luxembourg and to New Zealand. It-
Hi.
Hi, it's 9 o'clock in the evening at my space, at my place, and it's 9 o'clock in the morning at Shell's place in New Zealand. Shall I believe you are just taking breakfast or something like that now? I'm preparing to bed soon.
Yeah, having a good little bit of a morning snack to set me up for the day. And we've had lots of 30-degree days here this week, and now it's raining and it's going to be mid-20s. How about where you are, Shal?
I mean, it's freezing cold. It's -8 degrees, but it should be summer again or spring next week. So let's see how it evolves. Well, welcome, lovely people out there. I'm Michelle. I'm the one with the accent on the E. And I'm from Luxembourg, as I said before, breathwork teacher, author, speaker, and well-being coach. And you, Shell?
Well, I'm Shal, or Michelle with two L's, as formerly named, coming at you from New Zealand. I'm a reflexologist at my core, but I'm actually trained in massage, Reiki, aromatherapy, kinesiology, natural medicine, and a multitude of things, and I throw it all together. And I'm here to facilitate people's well-being. I'm really passionate about helping people check into their own resources and find their path. So that's what led me to meeting you, Michelle. If we want to sort of have a brief intro about that, what do you think about how we met, despite being on other sides of
Yes.
the world?
Yes.
Yeah.
Opposite polar sides of the world. That's very interesting. And we try everything out. We've done some breathwork studies, we've done coaching studies at the same place at Jamie Cutto's and Breathing Space. And when I look back, it was like 2018. I met Jamie Cutto for the first time in Luxembourg. He held a workshop, and he's the guy who does like self-reflection hip. So, like, we are all crazy in this world, and let's discover our craziness and embrace it and reflect it out to the world. And I was so impressed that I signed up for the first teacher training, as do you, Shell.
Yeah. And it was during COVID, and I was at home, and because we weren't going anywhere, had access to like what things am I going to do to fill in my time. And I remembered I had this incredible DVD by Jamie and Duncan Bridgman, What About Me, which talked a lot about personal aspects and struggles and different cultures and those intersections and with music. And I played it again, and it was like, this is just so good. And I thought, I wonder what he's up to. So I went online, found out that he was running some teacher training in his school for the insanely gifted, which I felt just fitted me perfectly. Um, and signed up and ended up in this incredible learning space online during COVID with about 30 of us, was there, Michelle? Would you say?
Yeah, I think 30, yeah.
From all over the world.
Yeah.
It was amazing. So that's how we met. And then I took a sabbatical last year, took a year off actually in 2022, and went and met Michelle and stayed a week with her family and with Michelle and her friends. And we just have continued to stay connected and blossom over our shared passion around well-being.
Yeah, our flow. Creating synchronicities and all that beautiful things. Yeah, so it's I mean, we would also underline in advance that we are by no means finished specimen or perfect gurus, nor do we have everything together, mostly not. And I think that's really important to mention because the wellness world actually now is full of, if you do it like that, you could be like me. And I want to stay out of there. I want to try everything, see how it fits, see how I resonate with stuff, probably picking a part of everything, but then creating my own stuff. And that's what we do. That's what we do when we stay in the flow, when we tap into that intuition to reflect it out to the world. And that's a beautiful thing. But there's like a little lack of trust in the beginning, I believe. And we want to help you out, you lovely people, to like talk about everything we experienced, everything we've learned, and everything we want to share with you, the good stuff and also the not so good stuff. So you can build your own mindset around it and try it maybe out, because I don't want to share anything which I haven't tried.
Hmm. Yeah, I think there's a part of the trying and being in the changing room and putting on the scarf or putting on the jacket and, seeing how it fits and being a living experiment.
Mhm.
But also, I think as curious human beings, there are times when we can end up uh, going somewhere, exploring a particular wellness or well-being aspect, and discernment can be a really interesting aspect of that, depending on what you're getting through what medium. Um, so yeah, we're going to flesh out and talk a bit around that and trust, your gut instinct, gathering knowledge that you hope is credible, and
Mhm.
those sorts of aspects as well. So we're going to, yeah, really explore and lean into that sort of
Yeah.
aspect of well-being. Mm.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole range of possibilities out there to learn how to deal with ourselves. And I know it's not always the easiest way to admit, because actually we all walk around with a whole backpack of childhood trauma, and you as well as me, which have we have burdened ourselves during our training to become a human being. And yeah, those are things which often no longer serves us. It's quite the opposite. It blocks us. And yeah, I mean, of course, we are all entitled to take care of our own needs, to express ourselves in a world outside in which we are kind to ourselves, to our family, and also to our fellow human beings. And where we show ourselves to be authentic and true in all our aspects, something that usually has a huge domino effect. And that's what our breathing teacher, Ben, always says. It's one of the most beautiful forms of activism ever. And
Mm.
it all starts with ourselves, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's such true words. And going back to what you said about the carrying the backpack of traumas, for example, um, from our childhood, um, definitely one big chunk, and the other now I think we tune into more as our ancestral trauma, and there's a lot more focus on what we've maybe carried through. But we have looked, certainly with Jamie Cato's work, at the shadow characters and aspects of the child that play out, and trying to be true to ourselves and having that gentle activism. If you're a full-blown people pleaser, or you have that as a key characteristic, and I will definitely put my hand up there. I want to sit on the fence, and that's more comfortable for me than necessarily stepping into my full authenticity at times. But it's owning that and recognizing that is an aspect of the self that often you go into battle with, I'd say.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, but for me, it's the inner critic who is the most visible, or for me, it's the one that you can't do this, you are not good enough, you are too fat, you are too ugly, you are too here, you are too that. You are just two. And
Mm.
it's funny to play around with all those characters, what we learned at Jeremy's. And I managed to beat that inner critic the first time I did a breathwork session actually
Hmm.
at Ben's. Ben was or is still a co-teacher at Jamie's, and he has this beautiful breathwork school, Breathing Space, which is a great community, by the way. And there's a lot to learn, and it's so much fun and so interesting. And as I did this first breathwork sessions, I was like crying like a baby, and I didn't know why. And said to myself, well, it's the first time after 49 years I finally feel good enough for this world. And that was like the door was open to breathing space and the training I did after Jamie's for the breathwork teacher.
Mm. Yeah, the power of the breath.
Yeah,
And I mean, through breathing space, the inspiration festival where they bring people together, breathwork teachers, amazing teachers from all over the world, and the fact that they've got an online library for free with breathing. And I mean, Wim Hof is widely known to so many people, which is obviously the cold water as well as the breathwork. And these are just examples of the expansion that's around now and the whole wellness arena. There's so many different breathwork practitioners and opportunities, but without a doubt, the breath is extremely powerful, and something we will talk at some point and have a whole topic about.
yeah, we are going to do that.
But
Absolutely.
we're going to be touching on different people from time to time when Michelle and I are sharing with you about our wellness experiences. And that segue for you to perhaps go and explore and see if there's some resonance, if you have a curiosity around these people or their practices. We're not endorsed by anybody. We're just choosing to share what we've learned and picked up along the way. So you'll just get little references and nuggets of all kinds of people and resources that hopefully, will be another little wellness chink in your armor, so to speak. So yeah, that's kind of how we're going to roll with our sessions, and we will have great guests from time to time. And we're not just going to be talking about modalities. We're also going to be talking about other pieces that might make up the wellness pie, like community, relationships, maybe it's justice. Um, there's lots of possibilities, but it's going to be a wonderful uh, meld of many, many people and experiences that hopefully enriches your wellness.
We collect the gems. We collect the gems. We're putting it in the magic pot, and then you can take out whatever you like and try it out. And yeah, maybe it resonates with you, maybe not. Maybe you can try some different stuff. It's up to you. But actually, yeah, you have to do the first step. I mean, one of my favorite quotes is change yourself and then everything changes around. Um, we often believe that we have to change the exterior, the outside, to be happy, to fit in, to like get the new job or anything. But actually, it's not true. It's about finding yourself. But that too doesn't work every time because we are not lost either. We are not like a $10 note in a winter coat from last year. We have all that stuff inside of us. We just have to discover it. I mean, we build up these layers around and around over the years, belief systems and everything. It's like creating little pathways into your brain, and the much you go them back and forward, the bigger they get. And sometimes they are real motorways in our heads. And I mean, we also judge the world and the people around due to those pathways we created in our brain, these neurological links, if you want to use the right term. um, and we build up our worlds upon around them, around those belief systems, which often does not serve us as at all, but they only block us. That's kind
Mm,
of difficult sometimes to find yourself. And I mean, what we learned during the last years is to embrace those failures, those mistakes, um, which often even um, create this mindset bigger that we believe we are not good enough and we are not here, we are not there. And that's sad.
mm. And part of where we can arrive at with this can be about how we can, tap into and hopefully elevate our energy so that if we're in a better space with our energy, then we're in a better place to trust.
Mhm.
Um, and we can feel more comfortable with intuitive decisions and hearing that initial voice that usually speaks to us first. But time and space are other elements. So you could do as much wellness work as you like, but if you're still very compressed for time and on the go and not resting, some of the basics, not sleeping well, um, perhaps not attending to the nutritional side of things, then that all has an impact. So it's a very elemental picture in terms of um, what does my well-being look like for me? And it's
Exactly.
constantly changing and it's constantly adjusting and we're constantly learning. And that's what the humaning is all about.
Constantly reflecting ourselves, which is also a difficult task for some people to do. Reflecting how we behave,
Mm.
what we speak, which words we use as well. That's also what was the thing that you looked the most on your path of wellness? What was the thing that you missed the most in your life before starting?
Um, let's say it was something that I missed myself. I think for me it could be it could be very different to your journey for sure because I actually had to crash and burn. I had to burn out in order to stop. And um I was living a life that was a bit of a sticking plaster, really, until it all went crashing down. But it was from that my well-being got its biggest wake-up call and I quit chasing the dollar working in corporate information technology actually at that time and decided I would train in massage and reflexology, etc. So um, it was my body and mind that actually gave up as my, if you like, Mac truck experience. So I really learnt the hard way, but I wouldn't change a thing.
Isn't it not the place where we all learn? I mean, we don't learn if everything is soothe and smooth and happy, and um, we learn in those depths and heights because
Mm.
sometimes we need a little push um, to wake up, if you want to say it like that, and to change something in your life, because otherwise you won't.
Mm. Yeah, I think though the way I frame it, and I'm always happy to say, and I'm sure we'll talk about this in more detail further down. For me, it was a complete crash and burn that involved going into a psychiatric hospital,
Mhm.
which most people would never wish on themselves. But for me, I've always taken it as a massively positive experience. I've been fortunate. So Um, then to be able to come out and go, actually, no, it doesn't matter to work massive hours and chase the dollar anymore. My wellness, my well-being is the most important thing. So, and then now I'm 18 years into practice. So I've picked up a lot of things along the way. And Michelle, I'm not sure what this word would be like for you, but I use the word glean. Um, that sometimes I'm just taking the top off little wellness practices and just dipping my toes in, learning a little bit about it, putting it sort of in my back pocket. There's other things, I've deep dived, I've got qualifications like yourself. But I'm interested in what people actually do to be well. So I'm seeing clients all the time and hearing what they're up to, and I can be curious with them. And of course, they love to share what they're doing and how it's working for them. So that's where this wellness by observation is a wonderful thing. And
Yeah,
yeah.
that's also tapping into your intuition, not following books or strict rules or anything, but just tap into your intuition and listen
Mm.
to that voice inside who is telling you stuff actually. And I mean, we noticed this also during the last days. We had this conversation, I remember last week, about manifestating things, which I'm not actually trained to. I try sometimes, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But after that, you came up with this wonderful idea to create something with the flow. I mean, flow in every sense of the words, flow to stay in the flow, to follow the path you are shown, and also fearlessly loving our well-being and not being afraid to talk about um, flow as in wildflowers, because we also are going to talk about wild plants, or about weeds. Some people call it. For some, it's weeds, for some, it's food. But it's
Mm.
also very interesting to tap into this and to take off the best parts and bring it out.
Yeah. And I think flow is a wonderful word. And I think the way we've both worked together also hasn't even been work. It's just organically over a week. We've just built some connects, and that the acronym of FLOW being fearlessly loving our well-being is beautiful. And I also like flow from the point of view of someone mentioned on some little wellness thing I've done, is that we can also be, though, like the leaf on the stream. So you're actually not just, going, oh, beautiful. You're spinning around and you're going backwards and you're tipping up. And so, you know, flow doesn't mean seamlessly, smoothly necessarily.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. But yeah, we're all wildflowers, and I feel like, we've been scattered across the earth, and we're all I'm speaking very globally here, we're all trying to live our best life. Um, well, as individuals, it's something that I know I really desire. I know it's the same for you too. So if we can scatter a little bit of flow out into the universe, hopefully that will have a little bit of an impact. And that feeds into my community pie. And it also feeds in for me in being of service to others.
Mhm.
It's part of my purpose. Yeah.
Exactly. And let's see
Mm.
where the flow takes us. It took us actually also to AI to talk about. I mean, you came up with those brilliant words in that special moment of meditation, of manifesting. Um, those words I used
I was having a
for
float.
the text. for the flow. And
The
I immediately,
flotation pod. That's where it came
exactly.
out of the flotation pod, and then I messaged you.
Yeah, and then I immediately saw images in my head. I created this picture for us with the name Wildflowers and around yeah, around it. And then you came up with the idea to use a little AI for our for our texts. And I wrote that AI text and I was like, oh my God, is this really human or what? No, it isn't. Um, it was like straight, square, formal, cold. There were no emotions in it. And I said, like, Michelle, this is not you. This is not coming from your heart because the words before were coming from your heart. And then we decided to not use AI, to stay with our own heart and to pick our own words, build our own texts. And I think that's the most beautiful thing to do as well.
Yeah, and this has been a really lovely dance because I don't know how the conversation came up with using Chat GBT. And so I thought I'll throw some words in and see what it comes up with. And my gut was telling me, I'm not sure if Shell will be up for that. But I still did it anyway. But she so beautifully came back to me about why um, it didn't seem right. And well, I wasn't necessarily saying it was right. I think I was just kind of excited that maybe this was some technology that could be useful. And then we've since had a conversation, and it's just so good to hear when someone is passionate and clear about something, express why it doesn't resonate with them. And that's been the beautiful dance of even of building this. And not to take offense that it's not used or it's not liked, but now I have this great understanding from Michelle about, or a greater depth of my own authenticity because of what she shared. So yeah, that's been a neat little start to our journey.
I mean, of course, we can talk about everything, and we also should be open to hear or listen other opinions. And there's not always white or black in the world. There are so many colors in between, which we can talk about and which we can also accept from other people, even if our opinion is different. I mean, that's always a possibility to do. Yeah, but I'm curious about to try, and I also tried it out. And you shouldn't talk about something which you don't try for the first time. It's not about seeing something or reading something and then taking this belief that it should be like that. No, try it out like with everything and see if it resonates or not. And yeah, it didn't with me for this part of the game.
Yeah, and that's with wellness, this is going to come up a lot because there are products, for example, that would be a huge area because for some people, their experience of a supplement, for example, or an energy device, um, there's or a particular type of modality or a style within a modality, all of those things, people will have their own experience of based on maybe what they've heard secondhand,
Mhm.
maybe what they've tried themselves. And it's not to even say that what the final position, there is a final position or that there is a right or wrong, but it's quite good to flesh out, um, these all these different possibilities that are out there. And maybe there'll be something that, Michelle and I don't have any insight into, but we hear about it. So that's where we may bring in somebody who, um, has a great amount of knowledge that can share that with us and with you, that we can
Exactly.
learn from and make our own call about. Yeah.
Mm. And to finish up with AI, well, I mean, I preach or teach um, about intuition, about tapping into your inner core, um, like trusting yourself. And with AI, using ChatGPT, you don't need to do that anymore because you don't need to think for yourself. You don't need to create for yourself, and your thinking is mentored. So it doesn't quite fit with what I preach out.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's good. That's good to say because it's a big thing. There's like untold YouTube podcasts now on around AI, and they have titles such as "Should We Fear It?" You know, um, and I think that
Is there anything we shouldn't fear at the moment?
well, that's enough. Yeah. There's a lot going on, isn't there? That's why it's great to be able to start something where we can discuss and flesh out certain areas. And um, if you're not fearing it, though, are you complacent? That's there's certainly a lot of things where I've seen, if I'm not, it makes me feel like if I'm not stepping into taking a side, then I'm just, I'm complacent. I'm not, um, I should be stepping into the argument and I'm not, so to speak.
Mhm.
So, um, and my very short answer to that on a very cursory introductory level is my wellness always comes first. So I will do what I need to do to be well for me. And if I want to put my energy into a particular topic, issue that's going on, I get to choose to do that. No one else gets to make that decision for me.
Yeah,
That keeps me well. Doesn't
I
mean the monkey
agree.
mind doesn't, go on, or that I'm not immune to seeing media and dialogues about big stuff going on.
Mhm.
But I look after me first.
Yeah, and I think it's much important to and much more strong as well to listen to your inner voice, because it's the voice of our spirit and also part of our conscience. Imagine it like a muscle, um, often no longer perceived because it's not used enough, and too often our mind speaks and not the spirit. Although what they say, spirit knows much more than the mind. And yeah, you can call it gut feeling if you want, intuition or universal guidance. But the inner voice is an insanely powerful GPS that guides you through your decisions, whether it's following the inner nudge to quit your job or sign into a workshop for yoga teacher training, or simply knowing when you need more sleep in your life, actually. And what we should learn is tapping into that intuition, into that inner gut feeling, and then listen to those messages because maybe they don't even seem to make sense, logical sense in the beginning. It can bring you forward, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
so what I do a lot to empty my mind, empty that head fog FM, that DJ that is constantly playing those negative talk up and down. I go to the forest. I seek stillness. That's something I really, really need. Um, because we are so distracted outside that, as you said before, you don't even find the time to do stuff. You always have something to do. There is noise around. There is to-do lists around. There is so much more, and it's sometimes difficult to create that space for yourself, for your own well-being, which is much needed.
Yeah. Yeah, the dedication to your own wellness is a must.
Mhm.
It really is. And then obviously everyone's going to have to carve it out differently depending on perhaps their home situation, whether they're on their own, whether they've got animals, whether they've got family, and balancing the needs of work. But if you have to make some space for yourself,
Yeah.
and for some people, it's actually not even on their radar, not even on their radar. And I know my business has changed a lot over time. I'd sort of take anybody that was just looking to have a massage, and I'd have lots of people just for one-offs. Now I'd say 90% of my business are people committed to regular sessions, and they come, might be monthly, might the odd fortnightly, but yeah, they actually want to come and have a discussion, not just have a physical therapy, but they want to say, this is what's going on for me, and what would you recommend I do? How could I tweak what I'm doing for my sleep, or for my gut health, or whatever? So there's been a huge shift I've seen with people in that time.
I
So
mean,
yeah.
yeah, creating space for meditation hasn't to be a big deal. You can sneak off for a walk in nature, as I said before, or to just empty your mind, or meditate in your car before you work, building more quiet time into your day. Simply be present and listen to what comes your way. And well, it's actually just a return to yourself if you want, to your inner core, and it makes really a big difference. And yeah, if you don't have time for silence, you can also slot in meditation um, while mindless activities, for example, like washing up, showering, gardening, or exercising, anything. You'll be amazed how much wisdom can come true when you're, yeah, up to your elbows in dishwashing liquid.
Yeah, like doing a puzzle. There's huge benefits to going to bed 1 hour earlier only,
Yeah,
and
changing the
I'm
way to work,
and I'm always
driving or walking a different way to work.
exactly change your brain situation. You know, the going for the green and the nature though is a massive. There's if you've got a beach nearby, if you've got can go for a quick walk in the hills or around the city early in the morning when it's really quiet. Um, Moving the body is very important as well. And maybe it's going and finding some kind of movement class of some sort, from dance to some other form of body movement. Um, I'm not sure what prices are like, Michelle, over where you are, but we have community classes for movement here of all kinds, and you can still go for like small donation, or what would be €3. Um, yeah, you don't have to be going and joining the salsa dance class for 10 weeks, or you know. It's limitless, and I think building little well-being plans is just a one-pager that highlights what you can do to make shifts is a definite way to go. That's what I'm a fan of. Yeah.
I mean, it's
Mm.
not always enough to create a space. It's also like paying attention to our feelings, actually. That also can be the inner voice. It doesn't show up all the time as a voice in our head, or as it could also be a feeling inside ourselves, a feeling we resonate with. And we should decode as well what that feeling is really trying to tell us. It's important to pay attention, for example, to physical sensations, digestive problems, persistent cough or headaches or fatigue. And those can also be signs that your inner guidance system is trying to tell you something. But yeah, you can also feel some kind of resonance in your body if you realize it or not. It has a pattern, the inner voice, and it usually speaks to you in a similar way as well. So you can learn to tune into it. And it's also about cultivating a new relationship with this intuitive voice, similar to any other relationships. You just have to get to know it, and you have to understand what it sounds like and also what it says. And yeah, there are some exercises you can do as well to train that intuitive muscle. Like, for example, taking a look back at your life and then collecting some intuition data if you want. For example, noticing how your intuition has made itself known to the past by remembering a time when you felt drawn to something for no logical reason. Or maybe you had an inner knowing that you shouldn't attend an event, and later on you learned that drama had taken place. Or maybe you had a gut feeling that you shouldn't work with a certain person, and you didn't listen, which then led to a big headache. So what we can do, we can make note of how it felt to receive that intuitive cue, and whether or not following it, or have we followed it, and what the outcome was. So these notes are literal proof of how intelligent actually and all-knowing this inner voice is. Some people seeing the data in front of them is actually very helpful to truly believe in the power of intuition.
That's really great, Michelle. And for those tuning in, on the Ayurvedic side, which is the Indian science of life, your third eye, which is,
Yeah.
I locate this here, is that intuitive, energetic area, which is related to our ability to trust. And the stone that is connected to that, or there will be many stones and many interpretations, but lapis lazuli is the one that's related to our intuition. So I'm just coming in there with a little little therapeutic ditty.
Yeah, sure. Always welcome. I mean, talking about the breath, which I am very tuned into, you can also stop for a moment and take a breath. You need to make a decision right now, for example, and you don't know what to do. You can simply do a little breathing exercise. Simply inhale through your nose at a count of 4. And then you hold your breath for 7 seconds. And then you exhale through your mouth on a count of 8. And you can take, for example, 3 of these breaths and then just sit in that space, because it's kind of a tool that clears out the head fog, the cobwebs, and the fog in our head, and brings clarity. And when you exhale from your mouth, you connect to your heart and to your lower energy centers. And this is where you really want to connect to when you are in a state of confusion, for example, or not with the mind. And then you can also use your hands if you want to connect even deeper. To do this, you place your left hand on your belly and your right hand on your heart, because the left side is feminine, the yin side, and allows to connect with your belly and intuition. and your right hand is connected to logic and reason. So when you place your right hand on your heart, it connects to the truth, actually. In short, it's like building a muscle, learning how to listen to your intuition. Takes some work, of course. Maybe it doesn't work in the first time, but it will if you keep going, and the rewards will be enormous as
Mhm.
well.
That's great, Michelle. I've enjoyed so much doing breathwork with you over the past couple of years. You're an amazing, amazing teacher, and the guidance that you do as well with your voice is yeah, fantastic. So I've been fortunate to sample some wellness from you.
And from you, of course, reflexible in New Zealand, a great place to be.
Mm,
Just
yeah.
go and see Michelle. You'll be rewarded afterwards. Yeah, but yeah, one of the reasons people do not listen to or trust or follow the intuition is that there is actually no space to unfold, as we're talking about. There's distraction all along, all day, be it the nose outside or the supervised mindset that we are offered from early to late. Pick a side. Pick a side. Are you the good or the bad guy? That fear loop that is constantly being driven, but also above all the stress inside our mind, that we create ourselves, actually, of having to fit in, having to be a good person. What do people possibly think? Be a good girl. Oh my God, how often um, am I confronted with those things? It's unbelievable. And yeah, take more time for silence is something what I've learned over the last years. Listen to your inner voice, which is actually yourself, and try to follow that path because that's you.
Mm,
And you are not wrong. You are not in the wrong place. You are just right where you are. You just have to remember who you are and, yeah, take away those layers.
mm. You've just reminded me that I saw an ad for this app called Headway, literally in the last week, and it was a bloody process to stop you from being a good girl. It was advertising, buy this app and do this process, and you will no longer be a good girl. I couldn't believe it.
I have to check that out.
I really did go. So yeah,
Yeah,
lots of discoveries, eh? Lots of
more to
things out
come,
there.
actually. Yeah, more to come.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what we like to do, we like to finish off with a little poem, a little quote. Let's go with the flow. And yeah, one you choose today is from Rumi, Michel.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, from Rumi.
Well, I don't actually have it up right now.
Okay, then let's go first for the one
I, I,
about the topic today. And maybe you can find it to read it later on. I found it 2 hours ago at Jeff Foster's site. Jeff Foster is also a great teacher. Um, what's the name of his Jeff Foster?
think he's just Jeff Foster.
Yeah, but he has also a school.
He does have a school. I'm not sure because he's just.
Yeah,
I think he's only newly launched it in the last year. He's really got into
live
setting up
live
the
without a
school.
center. Livewithoutascenter.com. A great guy. Um, and I found this poem which
He
it
writes beautiful things.
really
Mm.
fits onto our topic today, talking about the intuition living in the present moment. So this is Jeff Foster's poem. Sometimes you don't get to be a Buddha. Sometimes you just have to break and feel. You have to lose your precious spiritual awakening. You have to be a human being, feeling. Sometimes old pain resurfaces, old fear, sorrow, trauma, the searing ache of the abandoned child, the rage of a forgotten universe. And suddenly all of your spiritual insights crumble. All the beautiful spiritual words by the beautiful spiritual teachers, all the concepts and ideas about awakening and enlightenment, and the pure perfection of pure untainted awareness, and the selfless non-self self, and the path to glorious futures, and the wise guru, they suddenly all meaningless, empty words, second-hand drive, and debt to you. What's real, now, and alive is the burning in the belly, the fire in your heart. Unavoidable, intense, so close, so present. Sometimes you just have to feel. You have no choice. And sense your feet on the ground and breathe into discomfort and trust. And maybe trust that you cannot trust right now. And take it moment by moment, by moment, by moment. And know that nothing is working against you. And awaken from your dream of how this moment should be. And throw away all your secondhand ideas about the path. Sometimes your spirituality has to shatter. So you can finally realize this deeper spirituality of feeling, presence, and feet on ground living, and the sound of the birds singing in the distance, and a total surrender to this one precious moment. Jeff Foster. Thank you, Jeff, for this. We like to invite you to our podcast soon.
That's awesome because he's been a lovely influence, actually, his writings over my journey in the last 5 years or so since I probably heard about him and tapped into him, and he does beautiful things. So that was great. Thank you. Mm. Well, shall we wrap up our first episode?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, it's been great,
Yeah.
the lights come up. We're now heading towards 10 a.m. here in New Zealand. And obviously it will be dark as where you are and cold as well.
Yeah, it is. Almost
Yeah,
time for bed.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Um,
yeah, we'll look forward to how we plan out subsequent sessions, and really excited that we're going to be able to have Marius, the incredible weed man, weed is food man, that I was lucky enough to meet when I was over in Luxembourg at the incredible gathering that we had to celebrate your birthday, Michelle.
mm,
And
in the spaghetti garden, the green spaghetti garden.
mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was
But
very
yeah, many more great people to come, and more discussion and exploration of um, wellness, well-being possibilities.
exactly. Yeah, and let us know in the comments below if you liked it, and maybe if you have some ideas to discuss around, we will grab up a few. Thank you
Be
very
great.
much.
Would love to hear from you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.